everyone, I'm Grattles, and welcome back to the 4th episode of the best way to start your Satisfactory game. So, I do know I took a poll. The first episode, the 3rd episode were pretty long episodes. I had to get through quite a bit. The second one I made a bit shorter, and I have a little bit of mixed reviews on the length and the editing. So what I've decided is we're at a point now that we have Mark III belts and Mark II miners. And so what I'm going to do is do focused videos after this point on basic things that we're going to be doing to move forward. So right now, this is our base. And I forgot to tell you, I did set up some Caterium over in that area after we did blow up that rock. And I did a little prep work, so this way it would cut the time back in the episode over in the area that we're going to work in today. So today, because we have Mark III belts, we're going to work on steel. We're going to up that production we're going to double it. And I did make some encased beams by hand, but we will be making encased beams by the end of the episode. Let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so here's our Caterium factory. We're running the miner with 3 power slugs. It's producing 300 at a time. And we have 6 smelters into 6 constructors into these double storage bins right here. So yeah, that's going to get us some decent amounts of Caterium. And it's not far from the base. The base is right there. And I did do some platforms. I did not build a factory out of it. We will do that maybe eventually. But for now, at least we got some Caterium. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to run back to the base. And we're going to go ahead and do a little shopping. Alright, so I'm going to grab the tickets that we got. And we're going to go to the store. And let's get some stuff. So management, we're going to grab this floor hole, the wall hole, the ceiling mount, and the conveyor wall mount. Let's go ahead down. We're going to grab the wall power outlet 2s. Let's grab those. Next, we're going to go into organization. I don't think we need anything there. Customizer. Concrete. We're definitely going to get that. I'm going to go into foundations. I'm going to get half foundations. Walls. Let's go ahead and grab both of the glass windows. And I think we will get some gates. Let's see what we have now. Let's buy all. We have 11 tickets left. Stairs. Let's go ahead and grab that. Architecture. We're going to grab ladders. We're not going to do the elevators just yet. It's a little bit too early. We got some beams. Let's purchase what we got. We'll see what we got. We got 6 tickets left. So, let's go into foundations again. I do like... Ooh, this is tough. There's a couple of things. I think the inverted ramp might be good. I do like using the double ramp because it is simpler. But since we already have ramps, let's just use that. Let's see, maybe we'll grab some beams. Is that over? Nope, it's perfect. That's it, no more tickets. Let's head over to where we're gonna build our steel. I know a lot of... So, I did get a comment recently that said that a lot of the jumping and running was a little jarring for some people. It is... Wow. Hold on. We have a power pole under here. Yeah, that's not good. Let's get rid of that. We'll connect that back up. I'm gonna try to not do as... I'm gonna be more aware of my running and jumping. It is part of the game, and I kind of just kind of go with it a lot of times. Because I do like to be kind of speedy. So anyway, I redid this into 2 meter ramps instead of 4. And then over there, I laid this out a little bit better. We're going to put our steel factory up a little high. And we're going to have that kind of like basement look. Over on this side is the limestone, where I pulled for the concrete. So we'll be able to make encased beams. Over here is our cave where our Sam and quartz are. And then through here is just kind of like the basement kind of set up here, where we have our power. Alright, so let's jump down because we have to get over here. Here's our thing. I haven't hooked up the limestone to any power yet. But here's our old setup. And everything here is going to go for now. So, I'm just going to hit tab. We have a lot of stuff in storage. I'm going to grab a storage bin because once I delete all this, it will throw us into a abandoned crate or whatever that is. So we're just going to get rid of some of that stuff. I'm going to sort this out and then we're going to delete it all. Alright, now that we've done that, I'm actually going to take this, which we need concrete for. Oh boy, did we leave a dismantled crate? No, we just got away with it. Because look at this stuff here. Alright, so let's do this. We're going to grab that. I'm going to make another container because there's just way too much stuff. Yeah, we'll put the pipes in the... We'll put all this stuff away for now. Let's sort through this. We'll take all here, and then we'll jump up here. I just want to grab some reinforced plates. There we go. Alright, we're going to continue this down in here, and I'll be right back. Alright, so now that we got the foundation laid, let's go ahead and grab miner tools. So now, as you can see on the right-hand side, I kind of set us up for constructors, foundries, so it's 8, 8, and 3 Mark II miners. Now, we do need some pipes. We do have some pipes from before, so yeah, here. So we're good with that. Let's grab a couple just in case. There we go. And let's go ahead and put in our miners, because I do know that the miners take pipes. So it's a good thing we grabbed it. I think we'll just do something like that. And something like that. For now. We'll figure it out when we get upstairs, but right now that's how we're going to lay that out. So let's go up to our iron. Just going to get rid of this and this for now. Alright, so let's see where we are with our miners down here. Come this way. Okay, so we got them right here, right there. So right, probably where we took the square out, we're gonna go ahead and jump down. There we go. And we will replace that. We're gonna go ahead and put in a merger. So let's do that. Let's make it come out. I'll try to center it to there. That should be alright. And we're going to delete this one again. I'm going to delete that a second. I'm going to go probably there. I'm going to grab a Mark III lift. I need some steel beams. So let's go ahead and put a lift in there now. We'll kind of point it in that direction. And this one... that one might be a little more difficult. Yeah, let's do that in a different direction. We're gonna go that way. So if we press 3, we can get that to come in there. And if we grab that one, we'll get that to go in there. And now we have a way to get our coal upstairs. Now, another thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna grab some power slugs, or power shards, I should say. And we're going to turn this up to 180 because these have to be putting out 360. So there we go with that. Perfect. I'm just going to throw the coal in there that we had extra. Why not? There we go. And then we're going to run upstairs and do the Mark II for the iron. And then we're going to set up how we're going to do our foundries and our constructors. So So let's go ahead and do that. So we do have... Oh, we'll just take that. That's fine. If we click on this and we click E, we'll get the Mark II miner, which is what we want. And we're going to bring this down pretty much, I would say like we did before, but instead of straight, I'm going to do default. The surface is too uneven. You know what? Let's bring up this guy first. I want to see where he's at. It would be right over there. All right. So let's connect this to this. We're just going to bring it up to there. And I think that should be good enough. It is. Perfect. All right. So now I can see where I want to bring my iron to. Actually, I think what we might do is set up the miner a little differently. Let's jump back up to here again. Bring it that way a little bit more. I'm going to connect that 3 to there. And I definitely want it to come out around there. And do something like that. It is inside the stone a little bit, but it's fine. We did end up with another crate constantly. And that is because our inventory is so full. So I think that's going to be where our outputs are going to be. So now we need to set up 8 foundries. And we need to set up 8 constructors. So let's come down to here. Where do we want our factory to start and end? So that's going to be the question. We do have some space here. We can come back even further if we wanted to, which I think we might do a little bit. Might bring this out just by there. And then I'm going to continue this back. So I don't know how much of this we're going to keep and how much we're not. It's going to be personal preference later on when we start setting up other factories, maybe in this area. Maybe we won't. I'm not really sure, but I think for now this will work for me. I think maybe we can do a foundry starting around here. I like to give myself a little extra room. I'm going to bring it down just 1. All right. So I'm going to hold control and slide down with D. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Next, we're going to go ahead and put some lifts. So let's turn this way. Next, we're going to do some splitters, and they're going to be coming in from this side over here. So we're going to do that. Perfect. And now we need to belt these together. All right. Next, I'm going to grab a belt. We're going to run this, say right from here, and we're going to go straight. Probably there. And then we'll do that into there. So now that I've done that, I can take our splitters. We don't need one there. But if I hold control and point it at the belt itself, it will snap to where we need it. All right, last but not least, we need to belt these into the machine. So now all we need to do is to hook up our iron to here and our coal to there. So now that I'm looking at it, this really doesn't make too much sense because we can literally just turn this miner, which, by the way, we need to put power shards in. Let's go ahead and do that too when we get that set up. So we're going to take this miner too, and because we can point it that way, That'll work. We're going to go in here and we're going to throw in... I'm going to make 360. So we only need one. So that's 360, and then we have 2 down the bottom. Let's go into here, and we're going to... We have it on straight. We're going to do default. So... let's do a lift here. Like that. Let's go back into here. Maybe we... let's do curve. Maybe that'll work better. Yeah, I do like that. That'll work. And now we have that going into there. The next we're going to... Let's see. We're going to need to get this up a little higher. So I'm wondering if we do this. I'm going to take a lift here. And I'm going to go like this. And that is going to be like that. And like that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this down to our coal. There's no sense in having our coal come over to the middle when we can have it come over to where we need it to be. If it doesn't interfere with the ground here, which it might. Let's go ahead and take a look. So it looks like we can squeeze this in here with no problem. I just got to get up here a little bit better. There we go. So yeah, we will not clip into anything. So what we're going to do is... Actually, let's get rid of that. We can leave this the way it is. And then we can come out the back here and go here. We're going to hit default. Well, I don't like the way it clips into the rock there. So we can do that. And then we can bring it right to there. There we go. So the reason why this is moving coal already is because I already put it in there, but it's actually not set up to power. So we're going to do that next. I think what we could do is grab some power right from under here. So let's do that. Because I would like it to fill the machines. So that would be a really good thing. Alright. There we go. So these guys should be connected to power. And let's just make sure. Alrighty. So now this is connected. Let's go ahead and get this connected to power. Let's go ahead and grab you. And now this should mine up our ore. We're going to grab this, throw it in there. There it goes. And then these are going to fill up these machines. So we're going to do steel ingots. I don't know why I didn't choose that to begin with. But if you press Control C, you can copy it and Control V and paste it into the machines. It's really simple. So what we're going to do here is we're going to put the lifts. Then we're going to grab 6. And then we're going to press E because that's our mergers. And I think we're going to have everybody coming back this way. Alright, so we have all that having the ingots being put out. Now, we did get super close to here. And I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work when we build our factory. I didn't really leave a lot of space right here for anything. It's going to go right into the rocks. It's not ideal. Honestly, I would have suggested to maybe take this guy out, which I think we'll do. And the reason being is I don't want it that close, so I could put a wall there. So basically, this is going to start here. Like so. And what we'll do is we'll add another machine down the end. I'm going to build that into that and that into that. Then we could put a wall here. and it'll give us a little bit more room to work with. So with that being said, we took one away. We have to add one, which is not a big deal. And it's kind of good to show you like just how like that kind of works. We're going to take that away. We press R. There we go. And that's about it. So we got it connected. We gotta just do the front end here. This is making that. Put that in there. That in there. We'll do a lift here. And actually, we don't need a splitter on this end. And that would be that. Alright. So we got that set up now, and we have a little more space now to put a wall or whatever we want here. Doesn't matter exactly what it is. It could be anything, but it gives it a little more separation, which I think will be a lot better. Next, this takes up... Alright, let's take a look here. We're about a quarter in. I'm going to just come down this end. A little less than a quarter in here. Let's put up a wall. So instead of the walls that we usually use, we're going to use foundations. So we got these half foundations. I'm going to take it here. I'm going to spin it around because I want those ones with the lines. We're just going to take it down. We'll go by 10 there. Then we can go here, and I'm going to spin it around again. And I'm going to press R and go vertical and do 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to take it from there and go zoop to there. Now this may be way bigger, obviously, than we need, but I'm just giving you an example of how we're going to just kind of put it in. I'm going to come back here, and I think right on this guy, we'll go vertical. And there we go. So that's kind of like how we're going to set this up. Now we can actually put one here. There, cuts into that. It's fine. We're going to do that. So that is going to be the one side. So the reason why I'm showing you this quite early is because I'm going to get some power to go through this wall. Before we do that, I want this material to be concrete. So we're going to just turn this all into concrete. For now, and then we're going to hop on over. And I am going to hit Q, power, and I'm going to grab this regular wall outlet. So the other one is for regular walls. We don't have walls. We have foundations as walls. So the double does not work for this. So if we hop on over now, we're going to grab that. We're going to put this on the other side here. We're going to hop back up. I'm going to press 2, and I'm going to connect that to that one. So now we just passed the wire through the wall. As you can see, it's getting dark. I am going to stop and wait for it to become daytime so you can see a little bit better of what I'm doing. So I'll be back. Alright, so now that we got all that done, before we do any more building on this, we're going to add our constructors. So we're going to put in 8 constructors. So let's go ahead. I think what we'll do is, let me come back here. I'm going to line it up with this. I'm going to press H because I do want it a little bit of spaced away from the front of that. Let's move it right about there, I think. And then let's see how this lines up. I kind of want this box to line up with this one. So we're going to move it. Nope, wrong way. That way. Approximately. Move it back 1. So that lines up with that pretty nicely. I'm going to stand up front. I actually want it to line up that way to that machine. So next, I'm going to hold Control and do 3 more. And do that. I'm going to take a look. Yeah, I think that fits nicely. And that comes off of that machine by a little bit. But it almost lines up. Almost. Almost. I want it to come back a little bit further this way. So because I have that, I'm going to put it there. And that should line up with the edge of this one almost. And then we're going to replace these and put them in after I choose what we're going to do with it. So we're going to do pipes. So we're going to copy this machine, then hit Control and put them in. There we go. I'm going to go down to the end here. I'm going to try to line this up with them, but also with this one. So I'm going to hit H. And that obviously needs to go over. I think as far as where it is, it needs to come back. Is that correct? So we know where the middle space is. Bump, bump, bump. There. I'm going to come over to here. Middle space. That should be right. Alright, so we'll put it down. But this one's going to be beams. So I'm going to click on beams, grab that, hit Control, and put 4 on this side. There we go. Next, we need to do the lifts again. So let's do that. That was wrong. Let's do that. And now we need splitters. So we're going to come down from... I don't want that. Let's get out of here. 6 is my splitters. We're going to have it coming in there. And coming right down the line. Sorry. There we go. We need the belts. Now we need to connect this to this. So we can do default. That'll work. And now that spins into there. And they will be all together now. So the next thing, we're going to be putting in our assembler somewhere to make encased beams. Alright, so I think what we'll do, now that I got my steel beams, is put a lift here. And we're going to drop it down, go underneath. And this is off to this side, which is fine. To do that, I'm going to grab some more of these platforms here. So let's hit Q, production assembler, and let's line this up with this guy. Why is this not lining up? You would think I should be able to line that up. I guess it's close. Alright, so let's go over here. We need a couple of constructors making some concrete. Let's go ahead and power up the concrete first. So we could just take some power from this guy and connect it to there. And let's go ahead and throw in some power slugs. So 300 per minute. Let's go ahead and set up some constructors. my thought is, should I do 2 beams and 2 assemblers? I think that might be a better option, honestly. I think we're going to need way more encased beams than we think. So I'm going to go upstairs and we're going to go grab another beams and bring it down. So I'm just going to grab another lift. We're going to put it on this one. And then we're going to go down. To here. And this we could do pretty easily. We could leave it right there. Take a lift from here. I just fell down. Okay. And do this. And then take 3. Put it right to there. So the beams will come into there. That beams will come into there. And then I think what we'll do is we're going to merge these 3. All right, we need some power. So let's go ahead and do that. That already has 3 or 4. Not a great option here. There we go. All right, so that's going to be making our concrete. Let's go into the belts here. We're going to run them down to here. We'll come back here. And we'll do that into there. And then here, what we're going to do is grab a splitter. Line it up with that. And go into this machine. So now we're going to do encased beams here. And encased beams here. And we need power. So this we're going to upgrade to a Mark II. And we're going to bring this across here. And now we have our encased beams. So now we got to go ahead up top and start making our beams and our pipes. So we need power. And I think what we'll do is we'll start to put some kind of roof on this building. As of now, I don't have the slanted parts. So I think we're just going to do a flat roof. And this is all going to be concrete. So we're going to go ahead and fill this out with concrete, and I'll be right back. Alright, so now that I made pretty much everything concrete, we're going to take this 4 and we're going to turn it into a 1. And we're just going to put a roof across here. Alright, so now that we got a roof on here, we're able to run the power on top. So I'm just going to climb up on one of these constructors. Alright, so now we are up on here. We're going to grab this. And I'm just going to put one here. And probably every other one down the line here. So we got one there. And I think that is pretty well good. Let's go ahead and connect them up. Alright. So now we got to hook up our machines. So I'm going to stand here. Alright, so all our machines are up and running now. And everything is looking good. The next thing we want to do is hook up some organization. So let's go ahead and do that. And I think we're going to bring this to the edge of the building here. Alright, so another thing I like to do is, I think with the encased beams, we're going to actually, I hate to do this, I really do. I think we're going to disconnect this a second, and we're going to add some extra storage for this. And the reason being is, we're going to need it for purposes of having extra beams. And then what we'll do is we're actually going to put a splitter on here. So some of this will be getting these beams in these places here, and then others will go downstairs. So beams are really important. They take a little bit of time to make. They definitely take longer than pipes. And for that reason, I would like to make sure that we're making enough. And I know that we're going to need encased beams as well, but I honestly think doing it this way might be a better idea. Let's take away that. I'm going to grab that. We're going to go upstairs, and it'll be fine because we're going to let it work for a little bit anyway, and we'll be making plenty. But I always like to have extra, so it's definitely good to do it this way. I'm going to go back over to here. We're going to grab it from here, just like we did with that one. And we'll bring it downstairs. And we'll connect it up with the machine. Don't like the way that hits that one. What we could do is come down and over to here. That'll work too. The next thing we're going to have to do is storage for our encased beams. So let's go upstairs. And I think right here and right here are really good spots to put our encased beams. Grab here and just come to there. From this one, we're just going to come here. I'm going to do straight. And curve. There we go. Alright, so encased beams will now get pushed up into there. Perfect. Alright, because it was getting dark, I built the rest of this off screen. It didn't really matter. It's not anything fancy. It's a simple little square building made with foundations. So now let's go ahead and put in some windows. So here with the foundations, press H and move back 2, and we can move the windows in just in there a little bit better, and they look so much better in between the two. And I'm just going to do this all the way around. And then we'll work on the door. Alright, so now that the windows are in, let's go ahead and get a gate for the front of this. Honestly, I like the bigger gates. They just look better. I'm going to see if I can fix this. Sometimes you have to finagle it. So we're going to have to press H because we have this all off center. And we're going to come back and come back and come down. And then I think we're going to push this in by 2. And that should work. So now we got this nice roll-up gate. So let's go ahead and take a look at some colors. We could do this in black. We could do this in gray. We could do this in so many different ways. But anything you want to do and customize it would look good. Down here, we have not really finished anything else out, but I think we're going to end the episode off here. We do have a steel factory. We're making encased beams, and eventually we'll flush this out to make it look better and maybe add some more factories along the way. Next episode. So we set up a small little coal power plant. It's a mess over here, this power plant. But over and up in that area, we're going to go ahead and set up a huge coal factory next episode. And we're going to be making a lot of power. So here's a little overview of what we did in our factory. We have 8 foundries on top with coal and iron coming in. We have our 8 constructors, 4 doing beams and 4 doing pipes. We have 2 splitters that are going to our containers here. And those are going downstairs, and we'll take a look at that in a minute. And that's going to be producing us some encased beams. So these 4 containers contain the beams. Half are going downstairs, half are getting put into the storage. These 4 contain the pipes onto the right, and the middle 2 are encased beams for storage. Then when we head downstairs, this is what we have here. We have 2 assemblers making encased beams. We have 3 constructors making concrete. So we have limestone coming in, making the concrete. That's going to the assemblers. Coming down is the steel beams from up above. And that is putting it into the assemblers, making the encased beams. Then they're going back up into the storage. Again, if you like my content, like, subscribe, comment, and share. And I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.